Hi, Sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim 9. Hope you are great. Came across this video from this man. Shout out to you. He is really doing a great job with his anti-racism work and all that. I learned that he is married to a black woman, and I am saying that he is trying as much as he can to protect the wife and the children, and he is good at it. But still, I only give them their flower. I do not trust any of them. Why? Because majority of them have proven to people that look like me that they cannot be trusted, especially in some cases and all that. You will see them switch up on black people, but I will leave it at that. So he was talking about how white evangelical mission and all that, how they would rather give food to a dog or cat and all that instead of giving it to a real human being because they feel like you do not deserve it. And that is actually true because I remember bringing a video on Naya Sim where a woman said that she prefers dog, cats, and all that. Why? Because they are more beautiful than people that look like me. So she would rather feed them, give them anything instead of giving to people that look like human beings. That is I am in shock. But I have found something about why Christian Evangelical Mission, why majority of them behave alike. I don't know if it is like they have a manual that they read and all that. And one thing with it is that it corrupts their mind or it changes their mindset and make them behave some type of way. Observation. Yeah, let's get into this video.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm about to teach a sermon that would never be in any white evangelical church. Are y'all ready? Let's go. So let's talk about pro-life in the white evangelical church. See, y'all don't give a fuck about babies for real. You don't have a problem having your hands in somebody's body and their choices. You claim you have unconditional love for a fetus under so many fucking conditions. It doesn't matter if the person became pregnant through means of assault, through means of incest. You don't care. You say have the baby anyways. While simultaneously you don't support fucking government programs that would help a parent in the midst of a pregnancy. You don't support Planned Parenthood. You don't support Medicaid that could help with medical complications that come up with the pregnancy that directly affect the fetus. You have zero empathy for people that are pregnant. It all is funneled to the fucking fetus, and then you make it your entire identity. You make it a one-issue voter type deal. You don't give a fuck about people's bodies, people's choices. You don't care about bodily autonomy. We know this. And now we're stuck in a position where there's a looming hunger crisis for children in America. See, through any circumstance, you don't give a fuck. The person that's pregnant has to have the baby. You don't care what the circumstances are. You are so resolute in your stance for that fetus. But now when the children are here, when they're breathing, when they're here in school starving, when they're at home with nothing in the cupboards, you don't give a fuck that their family might lose food stamps. In fact, you don't just not give a fuck. It's worse than that. You think that the kids deserve this shit if their parents don't fall in line with how you think their life should be set up, how their work should be set up. You don't care. In fact, y'all are on here laughing, being arrogant, being fucking cocky about it. Well, I guess, if they just pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. If they just worked harder. All this missing nuance, missing systemic racism, missing white supremacy that directly interferes with all families that have specific needs. Their children have specific needs. You don't give a fuck about disability. You don't give a fuck about poverty. You just think the answer is simply for a family to work harder to feed their children. But for those same children, you demand that they be able to come into this world. You don't care, again, what the circumstance is for that pregnancy. You fight for that life. So it doesn't matter if that child is born out of a situation of sexual assault. That has to happen according to you. But when a child is here, a parent that might have a million different issues with regards to how it affects feeding their children, that's too much. That's too much. Kids gotta suffer. Oh well. And you sit here every goddamn day. Some of y'all are in church today talking about how you're so pro-life. No, the fuck you're not. I'd say you're pro-fetus, but you're not. You're pro-forced birth. And then you have zero empathy for the parent that's pregnant and the child or children that are coming into the world. It's performative. You 100% don't give a fuck, but you do it. You say you do it. You vote about it in order to make yourself feel like a good fucking person. And you're not. You don't give a shit about what Jesus says. You don't give a shit about Jesus saying, take care of the poor, take care of the widow, take care of those that are oppressed, stand up for the oppressed. You totally throw that shit out of the Bible. You don't give a fuck about loving your neighbor as yourself. As long as you and your white evangelical children and family are fed, you think everybody else has the same privilege and opportunity that you do. You think people should just be able to fucking do the exact same thing you do, even though white people have had a 400 years head start in this country. And on top of that, the majority of people that use SNAP, Medicaid, all these other programs are white. But you don't care. You don't. You say you do. You tell everybody. You wear the t-shirts. You got the bumper stickers. You have this internal rage. Some of y'all will go bomb a fucking abortion clinic because you believe in this so much. But you don't care and you never have. And nobody believes you when you say you're pro-life. When you see children from Palestine mangled, murdered in unthinkable ways, when you see children in Sudan that are murdered, destroyed, assaulted in ways we can't even comprehend, you're quiet. When you see immigrant children being fucking kidnapped from their families, you're cheering on the internet as a warrior of Christ. When you see children zip tied outside of their fucking apartment buildings, you love that. You are not pro-life. You're pro-violence towards anyone that is not a straight white Christian man, really. And you expect everyone else to believe that you are morally and ethically on this different pedestal, on this different level, that you got this shit all figured out. That Jesus will come down to you, non-white Jesus, and say, you're doing a good fucking job. He wouldn't. You know that part in the Bible where he said, get the fuck away from me, I don't know who you are? That's what would happen with the white evangelical church right now. You're so convinced that you're doing the right fucking thing. Meanwhile, children and families are going to enter into a space of straight up survival for food, for medical services, for all this shit. And y'all will sit back and make videos on here and make comments and talk to your families and your pastors laughing about this shit, thinking you're a good person. You aren't pro-life. You're fucking pro-violence. Period. White Trump supporters don't even give a fuck about other white Trump supporters. Let me explain. And I know a bunch of us already know that. 40 million cut off from SNAP benefits for November. Logically and statistically, that means a lot of white Trump supporters are going to be affected. Now, those same people truly believe that they aren't going to be the ones affected, or they simply don't give a shit that other white Trump supporters are going to be affected. There's this one lady, this Trump supporter, that said, I'm a single mother of 4. I'm a Trump supporter. I'd feed all my kids. Everyone just needs to work harder. So I said, okay, what about the Trump supporters that are going to be cut off from benefits? And she said, it doesn't matter. They just need to work harder. Right? And so this is a perfect example of the individualism within white supremacy, that the only person or people that white Trump supporters care about is themselves and their families. So if I work harder and I provide for my family, everyone else should be able to do the same shit. That's not real. Additionally, and we all know this, but the white Trump supporter will push back, the entire government is red. So they run this shit. And they've already spun it to make it look like the Democrats' fault. But they'll eat their own. They don't give a fuck. As long as their family and their kids are taken care of, they genuinely do not care if other Trump supporters and their kids suffer and starve. I mean, the reality is they only think black, indigenous people of color or immigrant families are the ones that are going to be affected by the SNAP benefits being cut. But it's going to be a whole fuckload of them, and they're going to be caught the fuck off guard. And I've been saying this for a while. White people don't have the survival skills that everyone else has acquired because of the oppression they've experienced from us as a white collective. This shit is going to be bad. And it's going to hit white people really fucking hard, especially white Trump supporters. But like I said, other white Trump supporters don't give a fuck about white Trump supporters and their families that will be affected by these cuts. Individualism and white supremacy will kill off its own, and other white people just won't care.
The gag isn't that the mega churches won't be offering like any type of like assistance or like handing out any type of like food subsidies for like the people in need. The real gag is they will still be asking for money, still asking for tithes and offerings. That's the real gag. Churches are greedy businesses. I remember when COVID hit and people weren't able to work, so basically like they didn't have like any type of like income. We both know those stimulus checks really didn't do anything for a lot of people that had like children and other stuff to pay for. But I remember when COVID hit, those mega churches were not only not helping their communities that paid their bills, some of them were asking their congregations to triple their tithes and offerings. And Christians, being the brainwashed people that they are, and churches preying on them, especially the poor ones, they gave everything they had and received nothing in return. Like, it's extremely unfortunate, but it's a tale as old as time. It's like I grew up in a very small Baptist church, and although I'm no longer Christian and follow that lifestyle, that church that I grew up in would absolutely fucking never expect anything from the congregation while people are losing their fucking SNAP benefits. But those fucking mega churches
the reason why your churches are tax exempt is because they're supposed to be serving their community. They're supposed to be an access point for food, water, shelter, services, whatever. When you hear that food stamps are going to be yanked from all of these people around the country, churches should be the first people responding, saying, this is what we are doing. This is how we're building community. This is the resources that we are going to provide for our people. And not just the community members that walk into your church on a Sunday morning. I'm talking any single person who walks in that door who's asking for help. Churches once upon a time used to be community-based. They used to be places where you could go to get help. And now they are businesses. They're businesses with pastors with mansions and yachts and planes. And these pastors are leading congregations of people who point and laugh at people who are less fortunate than them. Point and laugh at the people who need help. It's crazy how Christians in specific seem to forget the teachings of the Bible. When we were kids, we learned about how Jesus divided loaves of bread and fish to feed thousands of people. And you take that and you discard it and you say, no, Jesus absolutely would have pointed and laughed at these people and told them to just work harder. Your God, your Jesus would be utterly ashamed of the person that you are. And if he was here right now, you'd call for his head because he'd be the one out there providing the food to the less fortunate. And then he would also turn around and provide food to you if you needed it.
Here's the thing with the white people that are Trump supporters or who are fucking quiet right now or trying to play the middle ground. And this is something that we have participated in since the beginning of this country. But I want you to know that this is not a difference in politics. It's not a difference in opinions. As we see this country continue to carry out violence against immigrants and immigrant families and people that are not white, and are greenlit from the Supreme Court on down to carry out racial profiling, which has always been a thing in this country. The white collective is participating in ethnic cleansing. And y'all won't believe me. That's fine. You can literally go fucking Google the definition. But that's what the fuck is happening. And the reason it doesn't feel like that is because white supremacist violence is so normalized to us as white people. The violence that is being carried out is so justified by those of you that are silent or Trump supporters, or even people on the left that can't take any fucking correction or criticism about what's happening right now. This is way more violent and much deeper and much more sinister than the majority of white people comprehend, understand. And that's a choice, right? Because you've had people for years telling you what the fuck has happened in this country historically and what happens currently in the current times. And white people never take that shit seriously. It's all hypothetical discussion. It's all, well, you know, let's just agree to disagree. We're talking about human rights. We're talking about families. We're talking about people's real lives that are being destroyed by the government and white supremacy.
This is all I got from this video. A very big shout out to this young man. He is doing a great job, and he might actually not know. And I know he is married to a black woman, a beautiful black woman. And that is absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that he is doing great to create more awareness, especially in his community. And I truly hope that his community are seeing this video, because most times their community tend to ignore some of these videos. Why? Because they do not like to see someone being woke, someone doing anti-racism work and all that. But what needs to be done, whether you like it or not. And I am going to ask this question. Why is it that it is mostly the white evangelical mission, like church and all that, especially, why do they have this kind of mindset? Because so far I have been able to explore their mindset, and I found out that they all have the same mindset. Most of my friends that I know would tell me that are white, would tell me that I no longer go to church because it's a white evangelical. You know, I have a lot of people telling me that. But I do not care about I do not care so much, because I don't want to go to their church. We're just friends, nothing more than that. But then when you sit down with them and they tell you about their church and all that, that is when you will know that it was really like it's doing them a strong thing to today. I mean, you don't want a woman to be saved when she is probably in a tight condition. I am sure you understand where I am going to, where she is in a tight condition, while pregnant and all with that. You will not give somebody food. You will not give a hungry man food, like their mindset, right? But you will rather, I don't know, like, you know, you will rather give a food to dog, cats, and all that. But it's not okay to give it, you don't want to give it to a man. Or you can give it to, you can, for example, you can see a starving black man, but you will not give that person that food. Not because you don't have it, you have it, but because you feel like this person does not deserve grace or anything good, doesn't deserve to be treated kindly, nicely, and all that, you will ignore. You would rather go and feed your dog, goats, cow, and all that. And then I remember bringing a video at Naya Sim where the woman said that because cats are more beautiful than people that look like me. See, I don't know how to explain this thing to you people, but I mean, I have never seen people like this. I don't care if you are being, I don't care if you are just saying it. For the fact that some certain kind of words came out from your mouth, it's a foul. It's a no. Yeah. So you guys can actually, I mean, you still have time to decide what you want, because majority of you are the ones that voted this administration, saying that this administration promised you this and that and that and that. Or still, majority of you are still hailing him, saying that he is a Christian, he's a man of God, he is God's ordained. Like, who are you talking to? You are going to see people being snatched away. You won't say anything and all that. And for some white people that are doing a great, like that are doing this anti-racism job and all that, though I do not trust any of you, because I have watched you people switch up on black people so much that sometimes, even if you are genuine, I still give you your flower, but I stand far away from you, because I feel like you can always switch up on my people. And I don't like seeing people switch up on my people. Yeah, I don't like it. It disgusts me. I will draw the curtain here. Bye for now.